This is the first video that I want to talk about for tonight's stream. Um, so recently I've been thinking as I'm going through life and trying to uh do everything that I need to do in order to have a successful life. And you start to look around and you see, especially around my age, um, 20 around 25 to 30, people are obviously starting to get married, right? People are starting to get married, potentially starting to have kids. And you look around and you see that there are people that are doing that, but there's also this heavy mindset of individuality and people wanting to just travel and do their own thing and separate community. And I think with how the economy has been moving, the drive and the motivation to want to start a family, wanting to have kids, and how tight everyone's pockets are to a degree because of the economy, you know, having a family is not going to be priority number one for a lot of people, right? Because at the end of the day, people are looking at it where instead of worrying about community, building families, communities, and maybe sacrificing some of the material things, some of the things that maybe our parents weren't able to have and put to the side because they sacrificed it in order to have a family. I think a lot of the younger generations have uh, removed that concept due to how bad the economy is, right? And those that want to take that leap of faith, I think generally are within stable and growing and caring families because they see and understand how it can benefit society as well as just the people around them, and the benefits of having a family and core unit. But I do think that those that don't necessarily have those things start to realize, as well as the financial and economic components, start to realize that, yeah, having a family may not be actually worth it. Like, it may just be something that, I put on the back burner because at the end of the day, like, I gotta live my life. I gotta be true to me. I gotta do the things that I want to do, right? And in this first video, she's gonna be talking about her idea of what she thinks about having children, right? So let's get into it.
Conversation with someone and the topic of kids gets brought up and they're like, "Oh, do you want kids?" I'm like, "No," and they're always like, and I'm like, "I don't like kids. I don't like them. I find them annoying. I find them gross. I find them overstimulating. They're expensive. I don't want them. I enjoy coming home to a clean house. No one's touched my stuff. Everything's organized." And I was like, "You'll change your mind when you're older." Oh my god, no, I won't. Like, I had so many people like, "Oh my god, you'll just change your mind." I've been saying I don't like kids since I was a kid. I've been saying I do not want kids since before I even really knew, right? I've been saying the exact same thing. I don't want kids. I don't like kids. I don't like kids in public.
Well, you see, I think having this kind of mindset too, I think comes from growing up in an environment where uh everything that you see, people are so focused on themselves, right? They're so focused on what is the risk benefit analysis of this situation being for me, right? And everyone should have a general sense of that. However, when it gets so marketed to the highest degree to worry about yourself and always think about your self care and your mindset, and constantly focusing on that leads to the mindset of like, well, like, why would I want to have kids? Why would I want to bring them into the world? And I do think that it makes sense because everything right now, especially financially in the economy, is not looking pretty. And with how everything is being promoted, people making money left, right, going on vacations on social media, living their best life, doing their thing as individuals, and you're living through the screen and having that community through the screen, that parasocial relationship, you start to forget that, like, what life is truly about, the realities. And when you unplug or turn off that phone, what are you surrounded by, right? And if you get to a certain age where, people are going to start moving on their own paths, people are going to start going their own directions, and you may not have that core group of friends that are um, still in your circle because they may have started families. And now that you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, like, I'm here by myself, not wanting to have kids, and maybe you still want to have a relationship, but just don't want kids, you know, at what point does, I think also for women especially, that clock start to tick and say, hey, like maybe I should have like one kid because, the clock's starting to tick, like, or are we just saying, what, it like, doesn't matter. I just got to worry about myself, my timeline, and the life that I'm living, and then everything should be great. It's all great. So,
Like they aren't even my kids, and I'm not gonna go out in public and be like, dude, take your kid home. Like I get public is a space for everyone, right? So I'm not gonna go out and complain about your kid in public. But I don't want one in my own home. Okay, I don't know what like this obsession is. Everyone, you'll change your mind when you're older. Change your mind when you're older. I don't want kids. Stop arguing with me about this. Oh my god. You know what I find super
the
annoying is whenever
piercings
I'm having a
too.
conversation with
The piercings, as I said, like there's just things where people are like, nah, I can't sign up for it. But like when you start hitting like 40, 50, like where does your like drive and purpose come in, right? Like I know you can have fun and do your own thing, but like where does those um core values start to come in? And I think, promoting a lot of the individual mindset as well as taking that core family structure and manipulating it through the media has caused for people to not want to start a family, to not want to look towards, reproducing. And, with the extra layers of politics, um, all the wars that's going on, the news, the media, as well as the financial component, people are just signing out on the responsibilities that they have to, society and the world and reproducing and even to themselves, because at least what I've heard from people that do have kids, that is one of the most fulfilling things in their lives. Um, and I think in order to have a successful life, you have to find the thing that fully fulfills you. And, having children has been something that a lot of people have said has been the purpose and drive and motivations for them to continue living life later on in life, right? Because I know that you can always try and achieve and travel and look for the best things in the world, but at what point are you giving back, right? At what point is your life going to shift when you get older and say, all right, like I have everything, I've done a lot of things, like when am I going to look the other way? And I do think that yes, we want to ensure that we're populating and reproducing and moving the economy forward and fulfilling our lives. However, those of us that don't necessarily have the facilities or the capabilities and are not able to instill discipline into the lives of the young people and the children that they are having can lead to very harmful situations in society where you start to have a generation of children that are a lot more sensitive, a lot more reactive, and are not able to handle the pressures of what comes with life.